All right, Nick, let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers big defensive win, shutout win against the New Orleans Saints moving into the new week. And we have a story talking about their upcoming game this weekend against the Miami Dolphins, a huge game, two teams that are pretty hot right now, I would say. 49ers have been on a bit of a roll since they got Christian McCaffrey. They're looking really nice. The offense looks prime. Defense looks phenomenal, Nick. But 49ers fans, this team seems like it has all the ends shored up. Everything looks good all around the ball, but there might be like one or two missing pieces. And that's why we want to know in the comments below. Let us know what one player from any team in the NFL you would add to this 49ers squad to make it just perfect. What player would you add to this squad to make it the best? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, what do you have on the 49ers?
Yeah, so you and I talked about the 49ers a little bit earlier this week and how stacked of a roster they've quietly become, offense, defense, both sides, with the addition of Christian McCaffrey. You have Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. You have Jimmy G's playing well, George Kittle, of course, Trent Williams. You got Bosa, Warner. I mean, you just line them up. This is a stacked roster across the board. And after their big victory of the New Orleans Saints, they come out a 3.5, 4-point favorite. This is according to USA Today, over the Miami Dolphins. Where this really jumps out at me, Mize, is because the Miami Dolphins have not lost a game this season when their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, has started and finished. They're undefeated with Tua starting and finishing, and he's likely to start and finish the game against the 49ers. What does this tell me about the 49ers in this matchup against the Miami Dolphins? Is that the smart money, Vegas, thinks the San Francisco 49ers have the best roster, second probably only to the Eagles, but maybe potentially above the Eagles in the NFC, and that they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Because it's not just that they're 4-point favorites against a great Miami Dolphins team that just scores points on everybody. They just demolished Houston. That game was over at halftime. The 49ers are favorites with number of injuries. You look at Elijah Mitchell, just got hurt, right? He's going to be out for an extended period of time. They still have Kinlaw still out on defense, right? Eric Armstead still out on defense. Jimmy Garoppolo narrowly avoided a major knee injury last week that potentially has some after effects there. Deebo Samuel got a little bit banged up. He seems to be fine, but he's still playing a little hurt there in some instances. So this is a 49ers team that isn't even 100% healthy. And even so, the powers that be, the smart money in Vegas, has them as the clear favorite, more than 3 points, right? You always look at that 3-point line to figure out if a team's a true favorite or not. The 49ers are just above that 3-point line. They're a clear favorite over a very, very good Miami Dolphins team. That tells me the smart money thinks this 49ers team is an excellent roster, excellent coach, and they're primed to be a contender the rest of the way in the NFL. If I'm the NFL and I see this right here, if I'm the NFC, I'm sorry, I am scared to death, because this is a sign that could be better than Dallas, better than Minnesota, better than Seattle, better than New York, better than Washington, better than Tampa, certainly, potentially even better than the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a huge message sent by the smart money. What are your thoughts on this, Miles? What do you think of this decision by Vegas here to give 49ers the 4-point favorite here against a really good Dolphins team?
Well, it's really interesting. And the point you bring up about the injury, Nick, is really interesting because, especially on the defensive side of the ball, those are two major injuries in the interior of the defensive line that are out. So, obviously they have studs all around the other positions of the ball. They can probably easily make up for those injuries. Not saying that it's easy to. I'm just saying that's how good this 49ers second ranked overall defense is per PFF at this point in time.
And I missed one. Jason Verrett's on IR too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how good they've been even without one of their guys. It's crazy.
Yeah. You put those three guys in, and this is a 49ers defense that is literally, I don't even see a hole in it. You get the interior guys and the cornerback. I don't see a hole in this 49ers defense. But still, nonetheless, with the injuries, Nick, this 49er team is stacked. They're ready to go. And outside of, the Dolphins undefeated with Tua starting and finishing every game. So outside of either Vegas knows something we don't, or they have some kind of like assassin waiting in the stands to like take Tua's knee out when we're not looking, one thing or the other. This 49ers team is very tough to beat. They play a lot of control. They grind teams down. They're not the highest scoring on offense, but they've been pretty decent. They've been very efficient. But this, like the Saints game, you see that score 13-0. It's like they suffocate you with the defense and they grind you out on offense. And it's just, honestly, Nick, the word I think of when I think of this 49ers team and how they play football is they're irritating to play against. It's not fun football to play against them, but it wins games. It's got to be frustrating for teams to go up against a team like this, don't you think?
Oh yeah, especially since how well coached they are. Because you've got D'Amico Ryans. First of all, I don't know how he isn't a head coach already. The guy is a masterful defensive coordinator. I get a stat for you on this defense, Miles. This is something that's crazy. Is that the 49ers have not allowed a second half point, not touchdown, not field goal, no points at all in the second half since week 7. That is ridiculous. That doesn't happen in high school football when you're playing, a massive powerhouse against nobody's schools. If Alabama lined up against some D1 AA program every week, they'd give up second half points. This is the NFL. This is unheard of. And that tells you how special D'Amico Ryans is as a defensive coordinator. I'm sorry there. And how talented those players are on defense. D'Amico Ryans should be a head coach for that matter. But this team is so good, and you talk about frustrating. I think they just have the ability across the board just to envelop you. You've got Bosa, who just is a game wrecker. You got Warner, who's quietly the more underrated players in football. He's going to be another all-pro linebacker. They've overcome injuries everywhere too to just continue to play at a high level. What they do is just so unbelievable. The Saints have a good offense, and they shut them out. They dominated that game from start to finish, made red zone plays in between the 20s. They did it all. And this offense with the playmakers they have now that McCaffrey's in the fold, add in Deebo Samuel, Kittle, that whole bunch, Shanahan calling the plays. This is a team that I don't want to say they're unbeatable. They're certainly not. They're as close as you're going to get to a well-balanced team that has no weakness throughout the entire NFL.
Yeah, and I mean the defense, it helps, especially on the offensive defensive side of the ball, Snake. At almost every single position group, when you look at the 49ers, they've got a guy that's like top 5 at their position. I mean, you look interiorly, like Ken Law easily could be considered a top 5 defensive lineman so far. Bosa, top 5 edge rusher. Warner, top 5 linebacker. Hufanga is playing at the level of a top 5 safety. Ward, top 5 corner potentially. You could argue that. Trent Williams, top 1 tackle offensive lineman in the NFL. No one's beaten him. McCaffrey, top 5 running back. You get it. The list goes on and on. Deebo Samuel's great player. Just they have a guy at every single position group that you could name on this team. And I think that goes to show this 49ers team, if you take a step back, they've done a masterclass, the front office has, of assembling such a great team, and a team that has gone far in the playoffs every single season as of late. They've made a lot of late playoff pushes. And with Jimmy G at the helm, this team, it looks set up to win. He can obviously run the Shanahan offense very well. I just think if you let this team have a good record and make a good seeding spot into the playoffs every year, it is going to be really tough to play them, and they always have a chance to go very far in the playoffs.